In the coastal city of Haifa, Israel, 1976, a boy named Yuval Noah Harari was born. Little did the world know he would reshape how we see humanity itself. From an early age, Harari was fascinated by stories of the past. He grew up surrounded by the rich history of the Middle East. His curiosity was not limited to facts but extended to deep questions. What makes us human? How did our ancestors transform the world? Harari's academic journey began at Hebrew University of Jerusalem. There, he studied history, eager to understand the forces shaping societies. But he didn't stop there. He pursued his PhD at the prestigious University of Oxford. Specializing in medieval and military history, Harari sharpened his analytical mind. He explored how wars and politics influence human development, yet his vision stretched beyond mere events. He sought to connect the dots of human evolution and culture. Harari began to ask bigger questions. What stories unite us across time and space? His work became a quest to understand shared human myths. Harari's lectures at Hebrew University quickly gained a reputation. Students were drawn to his storytelling and clarity. He wove complex ideas into simple narratives. This skill would later define his best-selling books. Harari's thinking was deeply interdisciplinary. He combined history with biology, anthropology, and philosophy. This blend allowed him to see humanity from fresh angles. He challenged old assumptions about progress and civilization. Harari's early writings hinted at a revolutionary approach, but the world had yet to take full notice. He traveled widely, sharing ideas with scholars and public audiences. Harari embraced digital platforms to spread knowledge. He understood the power of clear communication in the internet age. His talks became viral, reaching millions across continents. Behind this success was a personal commitment to mindfulness. Harari practiced vipassana meditation, seeking clarity of mind. He believed meditation deepened his insight into human consciousness. This introspective practice influenced his worldview profoundly. Harari often speaks about the fluid nature of identity. He suggests that understanding this is key to understanding humanity. His personal discipline shaped his professional rigor. Harari's journey from Haifa to Oxford to global stages is inspiring. It shows the power of curiosity and dedication. In 2011, his ideas crystallized into a book that would captivate the world. But before that, his academic path was marked by quiet brilliance. Harari wasn't content to follow traditional paths. He sought to tell humanity's story in a new light. His approach was holistic, connecting biology and culture. He emphasized the role of shared beliefs in shaping societies. Harari's early work laid the foundation for his future success. He became a voice bridging scholarly thought and popular culture. His insights resonate with people from diverse backgrounds. Harari's method invites readers to question their assumptions. He challenges us to look beyond surface narratives. In his eyes, history is a living, evolving story, one that continues to shape our identity and destiny. His writing style balances scientific depth with poetic clarity. This rare combination fuels his wide appeal. Harari's ability to simplify complexity is a hallmark of his work. His lectures often explore the power of myths in human society. He shows how these shared stories create cooperation and culture. Harari believes that myths are essential for large-scale social order. This insight opens new ways to view politics, religion, and economics. He views human culture as a vast network of interwoven beliefs. Understanding this web is crucial for navigating the modern world. Harari's academic rigor is matched by his engaging storytelling. This makes his work accessible and inspiring. His personal journey is as compelling as his intellectual one. Harari has faced health challenges but remains dedicated to his work. His resilience adds depth to his perspective on human fragility. He often reflects on the delicate balance between power and vulnerability. Harari's story is not just about history, but about hope and caution. He urges us to understand the forces shaping our future. His early years planted the seeds for this vision. From the classrooms of Jerusalem to global conferences, Harari's voice grew stronger. His interdisciplinary approach challenged the boundaries of academia. Harari advocates for critical thinking and awareness in a complex world. He encourages us to question not only history, but also technology and ethics. His work invites dialogue across cultures and generations. Harari's global influence continues to expand. He has become a trusted guide to the maze of human progress. His insights illuminate the shadows of our past and future. Harari's unique blend of scholarship and storytelling captivates millions. His approach is a model for public intellectuals worldwide. Harari's vision is clear. Understanding history is key to shaping tomorrow. He teaches us that our myths are powerful tools and potential traps. The stories we believe determine our collective fate. Harari's mission is to awaken us to this reality. His voice is a beacon for those seeking deeper knowledge. In this journey, Harari invites us to look beyond ourselves, to see humanity as a shared adventure, a story of survival, cooperation, and creativity. Harari's origin shaped his unique worldview. His upbringing in Israel exposed him to diverse histories and cultures. This environment nurtured his sensitivity to human complexity. Harari's academic path combined Eastern and Western intellectual traditions. His experiences abroad broadened his perspective further. He remains humble despite his global fame. Harari credits curiosity and discipline as keys to his success. His story encourages us to pursue knowledge relentlessly, to ask hard questions without fear. This is the beginning of the remarkable journey of Yuval Noah Harari. Second part. As Harari's ideas took shape, the world began to listen more closely. In 2011, he published the groundbreaking book Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind. This book quickly became an international sensation. It offered a sweeping narrative of human history, unlike any before it. Harari traced humanity's journey from hunter-gatherers to the architects of modern civilization. He revealed how cognitive revolutions transformed our species. Language, imagination, and shared myths became powerful tools for cooperation. Harari emphasized that much of what we believe is constructed by collective stories. Religions, nations, money, all are myths we agree to live by. This insight challenged readers to reconsider what reality truly means. Sapiens does not just recount facts. It tells a story of human invention and creativity. It exposes the invisible glue holding societies together. Harari's writing style is clear yet poetic, making complex ideas accessible. Millions across the globe found themselves captivated by his narrative. The book's success turned Harari into a global intellectual figure. But the impact went deeper than popularity. Sapiens invited people to rethink identity and progress. It questions whether what we call civilization is always beneficial. Harari does not romanticize the past. He acknowledges the brutal realities, but he also sees human history as a testament to adaptability and innovation. This perspective has reshaped discussions in academia and beyond. Harari's approach integrates history with biology and psychology. He explains how evolutionary forces shape not only our bodies but our minds. The idea that myths create social order resonates strongly today. In an era of globalization and digital communication, shared stories evolve faster than ever. Harari warns that this can be both a source of unity and division. He highlights the fragile nature of our current social constructs. For example, money only works because we all believe in its value. This belief system can change overnight, affecting global economies. Harari's ability to connect past and present is remarkable. He doesn't just analyze history, he uses it to predict future trends. His insights into the future build on the foundation laid in Sapiens. In 2015, Harari released Homo Deus, A Brief History of Tomorrow. This book explores humanity's possible future shaped by technology. Artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, and biotechnology are central themes. Harari asks, what will it mean to be human when machines surpass us? He explores ethical dilemmas emerging from new scientific capabilities. Homo Deus challenges readers to imagine a future filled with unprecedented power, but also uncertainty and risk. Harari's vision is both hopeful and cautionary. He predicts humans might strive to become gods, Homo Deus, with godlike control. Yet this pursuit raises questions about inequality and meaning. What happens to those left behind in such a transformed world? Harari's work sparked debates on ethics, politics, and human purpose. He encourages critical thinking about technology's impact on society. His ideas have influenced leaders, policymakers, and thinkers worldwide. Harari's voice is often featured in conferences, interviews, and documentaries. He communicates complex ideas with clarity and humility. His emphasis on mindfulness and meditation deepens his reflections on consciousness. Harari believes that understanding ourselves is key to navigating future challenges. He warns against blind faith in progress without ethical reflection. His writings urge society to rethink goals beyond material success. Harari explores the concept of dadaism, the rise of algorithms and data-driven decision-making. He highlights both the promise and peril of surrendering control to machines. This theme is particularly relevant in today's digital age. Harari's work resonates with the fears and hopes of a generation facing rapid change. His global influence grows as debates on AI and biotechnology intensify. He invites us to consider not just what technology can do, but what it should do. Harari's thoughtful approach bridges science and philosophy. He inspires dialogue on the future of democracy, privacy, and identity. His ability to anticipate societal shifts makes him a visionary thinker. Harari's impact is felt beyond books, in education, media, and policy. He advocates for education systems that foster critical thinking and ethical awareness. His insights encourage people to question assumptions and imagine alternatives. Harari's vision challenges the idea that history is predetermined. Instead, he sees it as a dynamic process shaped by human choices. This empowers individuals and societies to shape their futures consciously. Harari's blend of history, science, and philosophy offers a unique lens on humanity. His narrative style makes difficult topics approachable and engaging. This has expanded his reach to diverse audiences worldwide. Harari's commitment to public intellectualism reflects a deep sense of responsibility. He uses his platform to raise awareness about existential risks. Harari stresses that understanding history is crucial to addressing modern crises. His books and talks provoke reflection on humanity's greatest challenges. From climate change to artificial intelligence, Harari addresses urgent issues. He emphasizes interconnectedness and global cooperation. His work calls for a new ethics suitable for the 21st century. Harari's message is clear. We must learn from the past to build a sustainable future. He envisions a world where knowledge and compassion guide progress. Harari's global journey continues, inspiring millions to think critically. His voice encourages humility, curiosity, and courage. Yuval Noah Harari invites us all to join the ongoing story of humankind, to understand where we come from, who we are, and where we might go. This is the essence of his revolutionary work. Part 3. While Harari's books shook the world, his influence didn't stop with readers. World leaders began to take notice. In fact, Harari has met with presidents, prime ministers, and tech giants. He's spoken directly with Emmanuel Macron, Angela Merkel, and Mark Zuckerberg. Why would politicians and tech CEOs turn to a historian? Because Harari doesn't just explain the past, he deciphers the future. His ideas offer a blueprint for understanding the age of AI and data. At the World Economic Forum in Davos, he stood before global elites. He warned them that the people who own the data own the future. This simple sentence sent shockwaves through Silicon Valley. Harari called out the dangers of surveillance capitalism. He exposed how algorithms might know us better than we know ourselves. What happens when a machine can predict your next move and control it? Harari's calm voice cuts through the noise of modern hype. He doesn't demonize technology, but he demands responsibility. In interviews, he speaks slowly, thoughtfully, as if weighing every word. He believes the future will be shaped not by invention, but by wisdom. And wisdom, Harari argues, comes from understanding our minds. That's why meditation plays a major role in his life. Yes, behind the global thinker is a man who spends 2 hours meditating daily. Harari is a longtime practitioner of Vipassana meditation. 10 days in silence. No phones, no books, no speaking, just awareness. He credits meditation for sharpening his mind and deepening his insights. It helps him separate noise from signal in a chaotic world. Through mindfulness, he examines not only history, but his own emotions. This discipline gives Harari a unique edge among public intellectuals. He's not driven by outrage or ego, but by clarity and calm. In a world that rewards speed, Harari chooses slowness. In a culture obsessed with opinions, he prefers questions. His philosophy is not rooted in ideology, but curiosity. That's what makes his voice resonate across cultures and continents. Harari often says, clarity is power, and he uses that clarity to challenge the status quo. He questions liberalism, nationalism, and religious dogma alike. He's not interested in defending systems, only in understanding them and helping others see their flaws and potentials. Harari's third major book, 21 Lessons for the 21st Century, dives into the present. While Sapiens looked back and Homo Deus looked ahead, this book focuses on now, on how to survive the information age. He tackles fake news, terrorism, immigration, and the meaning of work. Harari argues that clarity in the 21st century is not a luxury, it's a survival tool. He warns that confusion is a weapon. In an age of distraction, attention is our most precious asset. His message to the public is simple. Don't outsource your thinking. Algorithms may know your preferences, but not your values. Harari urges readers to build resilience in a rapidly shifting world. The ability to adapt emotionally, mentally will define who thrives. He calls education systems outdated and dangerously slow. We are training children for a world that may not exist in 20 years. So what should we teach them? Not just coding or math, but emotional intelligence, critical thinking, mental flexibility, and above all, self-awareness. Harari's vision is not dystopian nor blindly optimistic. It's a wake-up call wrapped in calm prose. He challenges us to look at our own beliefs, to understand why we believe what we do. In his words, humans think in stories, not in facts. And so the key to understanding humanity is decoding our stories. This idea is revolutionary in its simplicity. It means that reality is shaped not only by physics or biology, but by the tales we tell and the myths we uphold. Whether it's nationalism or religion, capitalism or socialism, Harari sees them all as human-made narratives. Powerful, yes, but also fragile. He believes that by rewriting our stories, we can reshape our future, but only if we remain aware of the narratives shaping our minds. This is where Harari's work becomes personal for the viewer. He invites us not just to learn, but to awaken, to question what we assume is true, to recognize the influence of media, algorithms, and culture, and to take back the authorship of our own lives. This is more than history. This is the art of being human in the 21st century. As the noise of the world grows louder, Harari becomes a voice of focus. As the future rushes toward us, he urges us to pause, to reflect, to listen, and to imagine, not just where we're going, but who we want to be when we get there. This is not the end of the story. It's just the next chapter. Part 4. As Harari's influence spread, universities began inviting him worldwide. But he wasn't just another academic giving lectures. He was transforming how people think about education. Harari believes that knowledge is no longer enough. Because in the 21st century, facts change faster than textbooks. He argues that we must teach students how to think, not what to think. Critical thinking, self-awareness, adaptability. These, he says, are the real survival skills of our time. And his voice began to reach younger audiences through YouTube, TikTok, and podcasts. Harari's calm, clear speech stood out in a world of shouting. He simplified complex ideas without making them shallow. And in doing so, he built a bridge between academia and the public. He turned history into a conversation, not a lecture. And he made philosophy feel like a survival guide. But Harari didn't stop at education. He warned of the dangers of totalitarian AI. He said, imagine a government that knows what you think before you do. This isn't science fiction, he insists. It's a real possibility. He called for global rules to manage biotechnology and data. Without such rules, he says, humanity may lose control of its own evolution. He raises questions that few dare to ask. Who owns your DNA? Can a dictator rewrite your brain chemistry? What does freedom mean in the age of neural implants? These aren't futuristic fantasies. They're policy questions now. Harari has become a philosopher for the digital age, but he's also deeply human. He often jokes about being a boring guy who just reads and meditates. He lives with his husband Itzik in a quiet village in Israel. No luxury cars, no private jets, just books, trees, and silence. That simplicity gives him power. While others race for fame, Harari withdraws to think. In one interview, he said, if you want to change the world, you must first understand yourself. That's why he treats history as a mirror, not just to look at the past, but to see ourselves. Harari believes that most human suffering comes from stories we tell ourselves. Stories about race, about borders, about power. He says, you are not your passport. You are not your job. You are a process. This view is deeply Buddhist in spirit, though Harari is not religious. He sees religion as one of the most powerful human inventions, a double-edged sword. It can inspire beauty and compassion, or division and war. Harari doesn't attack belief. He simply dissects it like a scientist. He respects the emotional power of faith, but warns of its political misuse. He often reminds readers that gods didn't write our laws. Humans did. And if humans wrote them, we can rewrite them. That's the heart of his hope, that nothing is inevitable. Not war, not hate, not inequality. All are built by choices, and choices can change. This idea gives his work its quiet strength. He doesn't shout revolution, he whispers evolution. And his words travel far, translated into over 60 languages. Millions of copies sold, from Mumbai to Berlin to Buenos Aires. But Harari remains humble. He says, I don't have answers, I only try to ask the right questions. And in a world flooded with certainty, his humility is refreshing. Harari's vision is not just intellectual, it's emotional. He touches the fears people carry in the modern world. The fear of being replaced, the fear of meaninglessness, the fear of losing control. And he offers not comfort, but clarity. He tells us that life has no script, that freedom is scary, but beautiful, that humans are not gods, but storytellers, and that the future is still being written, not by fate, not by algorithms, but by us. This is the legacy Harari is building, a global conversation about what it means to be human. In a time when machines are learning fast, he asks us to slow down and learn who we are. This is not the end, only the unfolding of a greater story. Part 5. But Harari's message is not only philosophical, it's also deeply political, not in the partisan sense, but in the human sense. He asks, what holds human societies together? His answer, shared stories. Not money, not guns, not even laws. Stories. Stories of nationhood, of justice, of identity. He calls them intersubjective realities. Real not because they exist in nature, but because billions agree to believe in them. Take money. A piece of paper becomes powerful because we trust it. A nation exists because we believe in its borders. A religion survives because its followers keep the faith. Remove belief, and the system collapses. This, Harari says, is both our greatest strength and our greatest vulnerability, because stories can unite, but they can also divide. He warns, be careful with the stories you choose. They shape the world more than weapons ever did. This is why he fears nationalism when it turns into extremism. He supports patriotism, but not blind loyalty. Loving your country, he says, should not mean hating others. Harari often critiques populist leaders. He says they exploit fear instead of solving problems. He doesn't name names, but the message is clear. When leaders invent enemies, they gain power, but societies lose trust. And trust, Harari says, is the invisible glue of civilization. Once it's gone, rebuilding it is very hard. He adds, without trust, even the best technology becomes dangerous. That's why he advocates for global cooperation on climate change, on AI, on pandemics, because no nation, no matter how strong, can face these alone. But cooperation, he admits, is fragile. It takes courage and vision, not fear, not nostalgia, and certainly not hate. Harari believes humanity is at a crossroads. We can choose unity or chaos, wisdom or power games, future or fantasy. And he doesn't preach from a mountaintop. He speaks as one of us, a man trying to understand his place in the whirlwind. That humility draws people in because it makes his brilliance accessible. In one keynote, Harari asked, what will our grandchildren say about us? Will they thank us for protecting their future or curse us for ruining it? That question lingers and it pushes people to think. Harari's books are not answers, they are provocations. They don't give comfort. They spark inquiry. That's why Sapiens became more than a bestseller. It became a movement. Readers began hosting discussion groups, Teachers built courses around it, CEOs put it on their desks, even world leaders read it. But Harari remained focused. He didn't chase influence, he chased clarity. Each page, he says, must earn its place. Each word, a tool to unlock minds. This discipline gave his writing a rare precision, simple but not simplistic, deep but never dull, and always relevant, because he writes for today, but with tomorrow in mind. That's what makes his work cinematic in scope, not just storytelling, but soul-searching. He turns the human journey into a mirror, one where we see our past sins and future dreams. But he doesn't tell us what to feel. He invites us to look, to reflect, and then to decide. Because in the end, Harari's message is clear. The future is unwritten, and we are the authors. Part 6, Harari's influence exploded after Sapiens. But he didn't stop there. He followed with Homo Deus, a bold look into humanity's future. While Sapiens asked, where did we come from? Homo Deus asks, where are we going? And the answer isn't comforting. He predicts the rise of digital dictatorships, algorithms that know us better than we know ourselves. Not science fiction, science fact. He calls it dataism, a new worldview where data becomes the ultimate authority, where feelings are just biochemical reactions, and choices merely patterns in a system. In this future, free will is questioned, not by philosophers, but by engineers. Facebook, Google, Amazon, they don't just track behavior, they predict it and shape it. Harari warns, if we're not careful, we'll outsource thinking to machines. Not just tasks, but values. Not just decisions, but meaning. He paints a chilling scenario. A world where AI doctors know when we'll die, before we do. Where governments monitor emotions in real time. Where corporations manipulate our desires without us noticing. And where the elite gain power through bioenhancement, creating a new class. The upgraded and the obsolete. This, he argues, is not distant. It's emerging now, from AI art to gene editing, from digital surveillance to brain-computer interfaces. The age of Homo sapiens, he says, may be ending, and Homo Deus, the godlike human, may rise, but not through wisdom, through code, through control, and possibly through chaos. Yet Harari is not a doomsayer. He doesn't shout, the end is near. He whispers, pay attention. Because the future is not set in stone. We can shape it. If we remain conscious, if we stay human in a post-human world. His message is not technology is bad. It's that technology without ethics is blind. That progress without purpose is dangerous. He urges a conversation now between scientists, policymakers, philosophers, and citizens about what kind of future we want. And who gets to decide? Because if we wait too long, it won't be us deciding anymore. That's the paradox Harari highlights. The smarter our creations become, the more we must think deeply about what it means to be human. He asks, will AI copy us or replace us? Will it liberate us or enslave us? Will it extend consciousness or erase it? He offers no easy answers, only piercing questions. And it's these questions that ignite debates around the world, because they force us to confront uncomfortable truths about how we live, what we value, and what we're becoming. Harari's genius isn't just analysis, it's anticipation. He sees the curve of history before it turns, and he warns, don't just study the past, don't just dream about the future, shape it wisely, or someone else will. Maybe something else will. I'm part 7. But Harari's bold ideas come with controversy. He's not just admired, he's challenged. Critics call him a techno-pessimist. Others say he oversimplifies complex histories. Some accuse him of being too speculative, too philosophical, too dramatic, yet his audience keeps growing because he speaks a truth people feel. That something profound is changing in the world. That the story of humanity is shifting, and we are not ready. He often says, humans think in stories, not in facts. That's why conspiracy theories spread. That's why nationalism rises. Because stories move us, facts often don't. And this insight is central to his third major book, 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. Unlike Sapiens or Homo Deus, this one is not about past or future. It's about now. Today's chaos or fake news, terrorism, AI threats, nationalism versus globalism. Harari dives into the heart of current debates. He questions the meaning of freedom in a world of surveillance, the meaning of education in a world of automation. He asks, are we teaching children how to think or how to obey? Are we preparing them for the test or for life? He says schools should focus on 4 C's: critical thinking, communication, collaboration, creativity, not just memorization, because machines can memorize better than us, but they can't imagine, not yet. Harari also speaks about the role of meditation in his own life. He meditates for 2 hours every day and goes on silent retreats for months. Why? To observe the mind, to stay grounded. In a world addicted to noise, he finds power in silence. It's not a gimmick, it's discipline, and it's shaped his worldview, because to write about human nature, you must first understand your own. Harari says, the greatest power is not controlling others, but understanding yourself. He avoids social media, owns no smartphone, keeps his digital life simple. He warns about the addictive nature of attention economy and calls for digital hygiene to protect our minds. He believes clarity is a form of activism, that writing is not just explaining, it's shaping. And so he writes to provoke, to challenge, to awaken. He doesn't want followers, he wants thinkers. He doesn't offer hope, he offers awareness, because only the aware can act, and only action can shape the future. This perhaps is why his voice resonates. Not because he gives answers, but because he forces better questions. He says the 21st century won't be shaped by bullets, but by bytes. Not by oil, but by data. Not by politicians, but by coders. And the battlefield is no longer distant. It's in our pockets, in our feeds, in our thoughts. This is the war for attention, and Harari wants us to wake up. Part 8. Harari isn't just a historian anymore. He's a global thinker, a public intellectual. He advises presidents, meets with tech giants, speaks at the World Economic Forum. From Barack Obama to Mark Zuckerberg, leaders listen, because Harari frames the future in human terms. He says, technology is never deterministic. What matters is how we use it. He doesn't fear AI. He fears human decisions around AI. Who owns the data? Who controls the algorithms? Who decides what's ethical? These are not technical questions. They're political, they're philosophical, and they're urgent. He warns that ignoring these debates will create new kinds of inequality, not just between rich and poor, but between upgraded and outdated, between connected and disconnected, between those who write the code and those who are coded in this future. Ignorance is not bliss, it's dangerous. Harari insists on global cooperation. He says no nation alone can regulate AI. No country can stop climate change on its own. We need shared narratives, shared values. But in an age of polarization, that's a challenge. He critiques nationalism, says it's outdated for a global era. Climate doesn't care about borders. Viruses don't carry passports. Algorithms don't stop at customs. And yet, our politics remain tribal. Our identity's fragile. He believes the greatest threats now come from within, from disinformation, from fear, from leaders who exploit chaos, and that's where Harari's voice cuts deep. He doesn't scream, he dissects. He unpacks our illusions and exposes our blind spots. His storytelling isn't just powerful, it's surgical, and he challenges both the left and right. He rejects lazy thinking, rejects blind optimism, rejects despair. Instead, he offers a mirror to history, to the future, to ourselves. He reminds us we're not the center of the universe. We never were. But we are the only species telling stories about meaning, and that gives us power and responsibility. He says, if you want to control people, tell them a good story. And today, everyone's trying to do just that. Governments, corporations, algorithms. So the question becomes, what's your story? Who wrote it? And can you rewrite it? Part 9 and the conclusion. Yuval Noah Harari has never claimed to be a prophet. He doesn't predict, he warns, he doesn't command. He invites reflection. In a world drowning in noise, he offers silence, clarity, depth. He's not just a best-selling author, he's a philosophical compass, pointing us to the questions that matter. What does it mean to be human? What future do we want to create? And most importantly, are we still in control of our own story? His books, Sapiens, Homo Deus, and 21 Lessons aren't just read, they're debated, taught in universities, quoted in boardrooms, feared by some, celebrated by others, but always impossible to ignore. Harari's legacy isn't in having answers, it's in sharpening our questions. In a time of distraction, he makes us pay attention to history, to power, to ourselves. He reminds us that the next chapter of humanity won't be written by accident. It will be written by choice, by awareness, by courage. And that is where you come in. Yes, you, the viewer, the thinker, the storyteller of your own life. If this documentary made you think, if it made you pause, if it challenged your view of the world, then don't let it stop here. Join a global community of minds. Subscribe to the channel. Share this story. Let's keep these conversations alive, because the future is not something we enter, it's something we shape. So what kind of future do you want? Let's shape it. Together, hit that subscribe button, be part of the conversation, and stay tuned, because the next story could change everything.